fans of the Indy 500 get to see all the action at IMS during the month of May, but that wouldn't be possible without the insanely talented and busy team behind the scenes at IMS. We have Zach Corral here with us to give us a little insight into all the work that goes into making that experience so special. Thanks for being here, man.
Well, of course, it's my pleasure, and I have a feeling that everyone here at Wish TV is going to love the one that's about TV production.
Yes, and I think a lot of us are very interested in that, especially in this building, because you don't see all of that going on. There's so much happening at one time, right?
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, the compound that we have is just, it's insane how big it is. I mean, there's so many trucks, so many people stuffed inside these trucks, and this is a really long episode because there's so much that goes into it. I mean, certainly that I didn't even realize. And it's hard to kind of show everyone what goes on behind the scenes, but I think this episode gives everyone a pretty good look.
That's one of the cool things about Behind the Bricks is getting that insight that you don't, because when we're at home watching or whatever the situation may be, you see it and you're like, oh, that makes sense, but the things that are happening are insane. And we have a little clip from this episode of Behind the Bricks. Take a look real quick.
So you probably often wondered how they get those cameras right up next to the racetrack, right next to the cars as they swing by. Well, that starts right here in the robo room. Talk a little bit, Kevin, about what's going on in here.
So for the 500, we'll actually have 10 robotic cameras out. So Kevin Rogers, as you can see, he's coming out of turn 2, and he's right up on the wall. So it's where we cannot put a human. It's too dangerous, and you can't make that pan fast enough to cover the cars.
We are in the
robotic cameras.
Yeah,
game changer.
I think that one was my favorite part. One, because it kind of looks like the camera operators are just playing a video game, right? But at the same time, you know, it gives a really good perspective of what technology can offer the fans now, because we can put these cameras in places that people just can't be. Sure. It's not safe to have people there. But you know, with these robotic cameras, we can have cameras right on the wall, up close, or we can have them in car like you see right there. It's just really cool to see how we give fans that additional perspective.
My favorite shot, and understandably it was used a lot, is the one where they're turning and you see those flowers just blowing with the speed off of those cars. I mean, that's just a crazy look that you don't get normally from the stands or at home.
Right, well, and so, you know, I think what we show to a pretty good degree in this episode is, you know, how many dimensions our TV broadcast can offer fans, from the visuals to, you know, the sound. And I think that's another good point, is that, you know, being able to put cameras in those kind of areas and really showing you the speed, showing those flowers, what it does to them. It's just a really nice, cool perspective.
The audio is a key part to all of this as well, because to get that full experience, and you get like in the pit and you hear drivers talk, I mean, how much work goes into making all this happen as far as the staff and equipment that is there?
So, I mean, so much. I mean, one truck alone has about 30 people working in it. I think there's 9 trucks in the TV compound. But you bring up the sound, and actually the sound was the most interesting part for me, because there's literally a guy that his entire job is just to manage the sound of the engines. That's all he does. And the room is so loud. I've never been in a louder room in my life. And it was really cool because they were talking us through that, and then they were like, okay, and this is what he does, but this is what it sounds like when he's not doing his job, and they hit a button and the engine sound goes off. And the broadcast is just people talking, and it
feels so awkward.
It feels so off and weird and kind of eerie, and so you're like, oh, I understand why there's one person dedicated to this, and it's racing. I mean, you want to hear the sound of the cars and the engines, but just to know that one person is dedicated to the sound of the engines on television is crazy to me.
So much work behind the scenes, and it creates an amazing experience for all of us viewers at home, and we're thankful that you guys do that, because it just it makes it awesome for those of us that can't get out to the race or whatever. Just a very different, unique perspective.
For sure.
Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us, and check out this episode of Behind the Bricks, because it is incredibly interesting.
Absolutely.
Zach, thanks, man. Appreciate it.